All right, guys. So now we're hopping into part 2 of the show. We are getting into controversial games. We have a whole list of them to go through. We might not name yours. If we skip yours, that's fine. Drop a comment on YouTube. Let us know. Send a message to us on Twitter. Tell us how dumb we are for missing it. That's cool. There are going to be some bonus pieces too. If you guys support us over on Patreon at the dollar tier or higher, we'll get you exclusive access to videos and content each month. We are going to have 3 extra ones of the controversials added in at the end just for you guys over there on Patreon. So make sure you check that out. Now, we just made a list of titles in here. We didn't go through and like, this is my pick, this is my pick. We just made a list of stuff. So, Vinny, I'll throw it to you since you're our guest. Where do you want to start?
Well, first and foremost, top of the list here, I can see is the clearest one of all. The one that jumps to me, it started off on a lot of the reasons why I got upset, of why I couldn't buy a game when I was younger. It's Mortal Kombat. This started us all off with the ESRB and took us to court with some really funny references that these politicians really thought this was the end of the world for us all by having spines ripped out and crushing skulls. We turned out fine, didn't we, boys?
Yeah.
That's right, we did.
I think they were worried about just making a whole generation of murderers, and it's like, dude, yeah, we might be like 12, but we understand there's reality and not reality. We get that. I don't watch Bugs Bunny and think that shit's gonna happen in real life, you know?
I'm not throwing safes on people I don't like.
Right? Exactly.
I know this.
I
Go ahead,
remember.
Wes.
I remember when Mortal Kombat hit the arcade and the uproar that you heard throughout like all the news media platforms. Just parent chats, and it was crazy. But people kept playing. They kept playing.
I mean, it was gorgeous for its day, and it had killer. You're also playing it because of those crazy moves. You wanted to see the blood. You wanted to see the fatalities. If somebody knew how to do one, everybody was so impressed. I'm like, oh, how'd you do that? Where'd you learn that? It was awesome. So, sure, I get why it scared people, but come on.
It was the first game I had to convince my parents to buy for me. It took a little while. I got it, of course, but all the uproar made it a little bit harder. But it didn't matter. Like I think eventually they realized just let him do whatever the hell he wants. I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not doing no crazy stuff. So who cares, Like, but yeah, Mortal Kombat was a big point. I remember the biggest thing I remember is obviously seeing it on TV and the news and everybody, all these media just getting into hysteria over it. And seeing friggin' Joe Lieberman's face in every magazine for video games and every, any time I would consume content for that summer or whatever, however long they were in court, or just seeing Joe Lieberman, everyone like, just stop. And I think he like ran for vice president once. And was like, please not this person, anybody but this person. So he just made a whole generation against him eventually. So that was kind of cool.
Basically, yeah.
Because no one was stopping playing Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely
for sure.
It probably gave it better publicity.
It did, because it made more people go to the arcade and play it.
Absolutely. Did you get the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis version? That's the Sega Genesis right there. Yeah.
I got both, but I really like the Genesis version.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have Sega Genesis, but that one was the one with the blood included. Like, you couldn't get it for Nintendo.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat's definitely got to be on the list. Now,
oh yeah,
I'm going to throw mine in here real quick, and I'm going to let Wes go. I'm going to throw in Night Trap, because at the same time, I don't want to have the same conversation in 5 seconds from now. But when all the Mortal Kombat controversy was happening, Night Trap came out on the Sega CD. And this game isn't even bad or like offensive or anything. You got like some teenage girls, and there's like murderers trying to get into the house, and like you have to like rescue them. Was like the premise basically. A, it wasn't a great game. B, it didn't even sell that well, I don't think. I think it sold pretty poorly, probably. But this was the other game the government decided to go after at the same time as Mortal Kombat and say these are the reasons we need to protect our children. And eventually, from that, we got the ESRB.
The Sega Saturn tried with the FMV's games, and it just couldn't do it. Was it Saturn or CD?
It
With
was
that
CD.
one, actually,
Sega CD.
CD. Yeah, and it was. You're right. It was a horror movie wannabe gone wrong because you're trying to rescue this person, girl, family.
They had a girls, like they were having a sleepover and these monsters, but I remember when it came out, the whole big thing about it, it had the girl from Different Strokes, Dana Plato, in it.
Mm.
So it they kind of capitalized on her popularity at the time to push that game. It still sucked, but
Yeah, it didn't help.
Didn't
Yeah,
What
help
you
at all.
talk about?
You just had to like flip cameras, right? Like there was different like cameras set up in the house, and you had to like go from room to room until like you found the murderers or something, and you had to like I don't even know what the point was after that. Would you like call the cops or something? What were you gonna do? Like
I think it was like you're setting up traps or like
Yeah.
avoiding their traps or
That's
something
right.
like that.
That's
You were
right.
setting up traps because it was like vampires or
Yeah.
some kind of tar monsters or something that were lurking in the house.
I mean, yeah, it's called Night Trap, so I would assume it's something about traps. Traps are somewhere. You got trapped if you bought it because you
Yeah.
wasted your money.
You were out $60 for
Yeah.
could have bought Sonic CD, man. All right, Wes, where do you want to go from here?
Oh man, there was so many. But one that I remember because I was working at EB when it came out for Nintendo 64, and we got Conker's Bad Fur Day, man. The uproar that caused. You had a cute little squirrel game, so everybody was thinking it was all Banjo Kazooie. When they saw the box with an M rating and all the sexual innuendos that was found throughout the game, yeah, it was not your kid's Banjo Kazooie game. It was different. It was a good game overall. It was a great game. But
I mean, he starts out drunk with a hangover. It's fantastic. He's just like miserable. Like this is never seen anything like this. This is fantastic.
Developed by Rare, correct?
Yes,
Mhm.
it was.
Yeah.
This was after Banjo Tooie, I believe, because Conker was a late release. I think Conker came out by the time like GameCube was either out or like about to be out. Like it was right during their transitional period.
I wonder if it was an attempt to try and draw in more of an adult audience at the end there to try and sell. I don't know what that was.
It was. They were trying to appeal to the adults as opposed to
Yeah.
like the cute kitty games. And I really want to say, if my memory serves me correctly, at the time, but before release, they were trying to slap an adult only label on it. And I think, they, after a lot of back and forth, they settled on a mature, but it definitely had a 17 and over label on it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they were trying to push for an AO rating on that game, but it never went through for sure.
No,
it definitely still has
I
like
see.
the M 17 plus rating or whatever it was. But yeah, there was definitely controversy around that at the time for sure.
I'm trying to think. Did they have a not for children label on the box?
I feel like that might be
call.
something that happened. They might like put a sticker over it or something that just said "not for children" or something
I
like
think
that.
so. For some reason, I see the box and I really want to say I saw like not for kids or not for children.
Advisory:
Yeah.
This game is not for anyone under age 17.
There
at the
it
bottom
is.
of the box.
That's what it was.
Yeah, and it's worth $250 in box.
A Nintendo game, an adult only Nintendo game. Yeah, well, that definitely caused a lot of controversy.
Definitely did.
Yeah, that's surprising for Nintendo. They are very, very strict on a lot of their censorship. So surprised they even let that one go through. So I wonder what was going on with the franchise at the time and why they felt the need to do that.
Well, because Rare was basically Nintendo. Like Rare,
Well,
Rare made the biggest
Donkey
N64 game. Like for the most part, they made some of the biggest 64 games. So they were just like, "Oh, you want to do what? Oh, okay. Whatever you want, Rare. You want to make another Banjo Kazooie?
Yes, please, we'll take it. We'll take it.
And then Microsoft bought them a few years later, which is crazy.